you guys, and welcome to my second episode of Tiny Talks. I am so excited to be back on here talking and sharing with you all. I first of all just have to acknowledge all the love and kindness and messages, comments, likes, all the things that you guys poured into my last podcast. You guys really know how to make someone feel welcome and excited. And I just wanted to pour that gratitude back into you guys because honestly, that is exactly why I am doing this podcast, is to help even at least one person. And so I am so excited to be on here today for my second episode. And while I was kind of sitting down, deciding what I was going to talk about, I realized that I had a lot of things flowing into my head. And so I really decided to sit down, and a couple of things that kept coming up for me was refreshing back to my journey over the last, I would say, year and a half. And so the last year and a half, I have really been on a self-discovery journey, if you will. I have been trying to learn about myself, learn about the world, learn about the things that I like and are important in my life, and really just figuring out all the things. So we could call it a quarter life crisis, if you will. And so basically on that journey, it really started off with me being in a place of just feeling like I'm at my end, not knowing where I'm supposed to go, feeling fed up with negativity in my life, feeling almost like I'm walking in a circle. And I get tired of that feeling very, very quickly. And as I was reflecting back to feeling this way, and maybe some of the things that tailored into that, I realized that it wasn't one specific thing, but indeed a circle of things that were bringing into my life that feeling. And so I'm talking about all different areas of my life. So that was friendships, that was relationships, that was relationships with my friends, also intimate relationships with my family as well. That was a relationship with myself. So really just all across the board. That was the products that I was using, which is something that I'm going to be talking about a lot on my channel and on my podcast, because ditching toxic products was another huge thing that was stemming into my mental health. That was also down to my environment, physically, where I was living and being and spending my time. That was the foods that I was consuming, thinking that I was working with my body, but instead eating foods that just weren't agreeing with my body. That was the things that I was doing and spending my time doing. Okay, so there was so many things that stemmed into my circle, which is 100% what we all experience. And that's why it's so important that we take a step back sometimes and we ask ourselves an important question, which is this thing in my life feeding me, or is it bleeding me? Is it bringing me value, or is it deteriorating me? Right? When we are with certain people or doing certain things, you know the people that make you feel good. You know the things that make you feel good. You know the foods that make you feel good. Right? We know these things. But oftentimes we seek comfort or pleasure in the moment because that makes us feel good for a short amount of time. But I'm realizing that it's so important for us to look at the big picture. Yes, this thing is going to bring me pleasure in this moment, but am I going to regret this an hour, a week, a month down the road? Right? I was in that circle of I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll stop texting that person and get them out of my life like later because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? Or I'll change my diet and start going to the gym next week because this, and that. We start to tell ourselves all these excuses and all these reasons why we shouldn't do the things that we know that we should. And that, my friends, is called staying in your comfort zone. And so going back to my story, I stayed in my comfort zone for quite a while, staying around those same people, the same things, the same food, the same products, everything I just said, consuming that day in and day out, feeling the same way day in and day out. And I remember the day pretty much down to a T when I decided not anymore. And it was almost like a switch went off. And I don't know exactly what that switch was. It might have been a mix or a bunch of things that had come together to form that. But basically I decided that I was worthy to feel good, I was worthy to be around people that actually lifted me up, instead of being around those people that I always felt crummy when I hung around with. Right? Actually feeling worthy of eating the foods that fulfill and make my specific body feel good. Doing activities that to some people may be boring or childish or whatever, but to me they brought me joy. Right? And so I encourage you all to just think of the things in your life that already bring you joy. And maybe some of those things you hide from your friends and family, and you almost do in secrecy because you don't want to hear what they have to say. Or maybe you're afraid of that. But now, one huge thing that I've learned is that when we start to tailor our actions and our behaviors and the things that we do to please those around us, we are then only going to attract and keep in our lives the people that fit us, that fit that story. And that could be the old version of us. And that's another thing. Maybe the people in your life right now that are causing toxicity or are causing problems, maybe they were great for you 5-10 years ago, or maybe even a year ago. Growth doesn't have a way to measure it necessarily, right? And that we can, quote unquote, outgrow someone and not even really know how or why. But I think it's so important that we bring attention and awareness to when we're noticing ourselves feeling like we're coming down off the pedestal or lowering ourselves in order to fit in with those around us, right? Because that's what I did for a very long time. And so when I had that aha moment, and I remember I spent a lot of time telling myself positive affirmations and listening to these positive affirmation meditation videos. And it was super, super weird and painful in the beginning. But I remember to even tell myself, I am beautiful and I am worthy, made me feel physically nauseous. And reflecting back on that, I'm realizing that I indeed was my biggest enemy. And so a great place to start with this, because I know it can be hard to even just accept that sometimes the people in our lives are no longer, quote unquote, again, healthy for us, or maybe fulfilling us in a way that they once did. And I'm just here to give you that permission that that's okay. If we outgrow someone, or if they're just no longer serving our lives, let's look at it in a way that they once did. You know, what did they teach us? What did everything that I'm experiencing before that might be toxic or unhealthy for me now, but what did that teach me in that moment? What did that friendship bring to my life that I am now going to hold on to? Right? I truly believe that every experience and every person teaches us something. And even relationships, we often view past relationships as, oh gosh, that was such a waste of time. Like, how could I have spent all that time doing that? Right? We often hear people say that. I'm guilty of having said that before. But what did that relationship teach you? Did it make you realize the things that maybe you do want in a relationship? The things that you don't want? Knowing your worth of what you're worthy to have? I'm here to just give you that permission that it's all a journey. But the more that we can bring awareness to the things in our lives that are just no longer fulfilling us, asking ourselves those hard questions, is this feeding me or is this bleeding me? Where am I investing my time? Am I investing my time into somebody else? Or am I investing my time into myself? Right? And I know these are all super scary, hard, tricky, confusing conversations to have with ourselves. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're the only ones that can make the decisions to change our lives. We are the captain of our ships. We are the captain of our lives. We are the gatekeepers of our bodies. We get to choose what we invite into that space. Right? At the end of the day, who you are is who you are. And what I mean by that is physically in your body right now, your heart beating, you breathing, you moving. That is you. Learn to love yourself unconditionally. Show yourself that love every day. Know that you're worthy to be around people that make you feel good, that empower you. Right? We don't have time. Life is so precious. I don't think we realize sometimes how precious life is. I think it's oftentimes till it's too late that we wish that we'd done this or wish that we'd done that. But why don't we start right now? And so what I'm going to leave you with today is I want you to just sit down with yourselves with a pen and paper and just write down all the things in your life that are fulfilling you, how much they're fulfilling you. Maybe some areas of your life that you're recognizing that I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of feeling this emotion or this sensation. I'm tired of putting myself last. Right? Being brutally honest with ourselves and making those first steps to get there. And again, I know it's not easy. I know it's a journey. I began this journey, like I said, about 1.5 years ago, and gosh, I'm still climbing that mountain. I'm still learning new things about myself every single day. But I'm finally in a position where I can, with 100% confidence, look in the mirror and just tell myself, you are dang worthy to have good people in your life. You are worthy to feel good, right? Let's all work towards getting to that place where we can just own it. That's often taken away from us. If you think we're not born into the world with that negativity about ourselves, when we're younger, we think we're the bomb.com, you know? We're like, look at my cool shirt, like, look at my backpack. Yo, did you see my light up shoes? Right? When we're young, we don't care. Society takes that away. Social media takes that away. Being around toxic people takes that away, right? Trauma, all these things, they all play into this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, again, we get to choose what we do with that. We get to decide when enough is enough and identify for ourselves that we are worthy. And so to finish for today, I just want you to close your eyes for a moment. Of course, if you're not driving or if you have the capacity to do so. And I just invite you to put your hand over your heart for a moment. And it's okay if you've never done something like this before. I know it can feel strange in the beginning, but even just for trying, I thank you. And just put your hand over your heart for a moment and feel the beat in there. Right? You're alive. You're listening to this. You're hearing my voice right now. You're choosing to pour into you right now. And so I just want you to take a deep breath. You are so worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of kindness. You are so smart. You are so brave. You are so beautiful. Anything that you desire, anything that you dream, anything that you wish, you can get there. I know you can because you have it in your head. If you can think it and you can believe it, you can achieve it. That is like one of the basic quotes that there is, but it's so true and holds so much power. Hold on to that vision for yourselves, right? I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join in with me for my second episode of Tiny Talks. I'm having so much fun just brainstorming ideas and thinking of all the things that I want to share with you guys. It truly fills my cup to connect and hear your stories and your journeys and where you've come from, and to hopefully share my journey with you as well. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful, fabulous, beautiful day. Until next time.